Yo, what is up? What's going on, everybody? We here for a late evening live stream. Okay, we are here for the evening live stream. I told you I was going to do the second half of what I did earlier today on this live stream. We're going to finish up the AI portion of the show that we didn't get to do earlier today because I ran short on time, but we are going to finish it now. It's going to be a late one, but we're still going to make it happen. So let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. We have to go over the AI portion of the show, which basically was going to talk about the social credit score. So that's where we're at right now with this one. I'm gonna have to keep this one a little bit chill, a little bit mellow. Got a little one sleep, so we can't be too loud. But I got my water, so we're gonna power through this. Ain't that right, Mr. Chow?
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
No, we didn't become unalive. We still gonna make it. We still gonna make this happen. So earlier we were going through the show and we did the fitness and the economy portion of the show, but we're going to slide into the AI segment and dive right in. Now, if you were not here earlier, if you're wondering, we're going to go over social credit score, which seems like something has gotten its way over to the US. The social credit score basically is just what do you want to call it? Like just another way to like track you in a financial way, but it's going off of your behavior, and your behavior is then going to hinder your financial way of living. So, it's going to digitize everything. They've had this in China for quite some time now, and we're going to go over videos that are like 6 years old, and we're going to look back at what China's been going through. Then we're going to fast forward to today and see what we got going on, and basically take a look to see if what China had implemented back then is what we have now. And I believe we do have that right now, and it's not looking too shabby. It's going to be pretty rough. But with that being said, we still have to learn to see exactly how the social credit score works and how far we are into it, because it's already started. It's already here. It's already going on, but we're going to dive deeper in and take a deeper look as to see exactly what's going on. So be ready, be prepared. It's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out, but we're going to start with China first, because China is the one that had it first, at least as far as we know, and we're going to see how much of a stronghold that it has on its country and see if that stronghold is going to be placed over here in the US. So if you thought it was bad now, we're going to find out and see how much worse it can get, because yeah. And lately, since the new president has taken place in the 8 months he's been putting a whole lot of things into place. So we're gonna see how this is gonna plan out, because I believe that the social credit score is mainly gonna better businesses. Well, I won't say better businesses, but it's gonna be for businesses. So anything that's for businesses is usually gonna get pushed through, because, as we all know, America is one big corporation. So anything that has to do with providing jobs, or anything that has to do with helping businesses, is usually going to be a positive in the overall scheme of things, because everything is about business. So let's go ahead and dive right into this. Let's go ahead and get a little AI lady up here and get us right into it. So let's get it started. Here we go.
Welcome to the AI segment of the show. Enjoy.
Yeah, my little AI lady, she has some typo issues down there at the bottom. I don't know if you noticed. We may have to fix that at some point. Yeah. So, one thing that you have to figure out is you want to, before this social credit score hits, you do want to find a way to get yourself out of a muck. You don't want to be in a hole while the social credit score hits, because if you're in a bad position and there's a social credit score going on, I mean, it's going to probably put a stranglehold on you like you have never seen before. So with that being said, I'm not going to waste no more time. We're going to go in and look at this old video that we have of a social credit score back in China of the country and of a particular person. So we're going to see it from two ways. We're going to see it on somebody living a life with social credit score and a whole country dealing with it all at once. So let's go ahead and get this pulled up on the screen. Let's change that banner And let's see right here. So it says social credit score system coming to China with citizens scored on behavior. This is 6 years ago. So fair use on NBC News. Let's check this out and see how this works. Here we go.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Haoyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
It's a mechanism like pushes you to become a better citizen.
It's big data meets Big Brother, expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens.
So right there you have big data meets Big Brother. Now, one thing is, as an American, we're not used to such thing, but if you think about it, if other countries already have this, and a lot of countries are already over here setting up shop and living in America, when it rolls out, they're gonna have an easier way to basically adjust to this living, as opposed to Americans, because Americans ain't used to it. But these other countries and other people and other cultures that are here that already been in countries that had it, to them they're gonna be like, hey, it's second nature to us. We kind of know what to do. You guys, don't know how to roll with the punches or know how to deal with it. They know how to basically live a life and maintain it. They've already got past probably the shock value part that Americans are going to go through when it hits. So let's see. And it says it controls 1.4 billion of its people. It's a control mechanism on your behavior. So let's see how this pans out. Here we go.
Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than
Did you hear that? Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence. This video is 6 years old. At least this is when this video was posted to YouTube. So this was posted to YouTube 6 years ago, so it could be a little bit older, but they said right there, thanks to artificial intelligence. So way back then they were already using AI. So I'm glad I put this in the AI portion of the show, because then I was right. So you're using AI as a means to basically surveil your every single move. So let's keep looking.
To advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras.
Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lot of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
Companies are experimenting with the algorithms to help the government create the new national social credit system. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video.
Gossip. They said gossip. If you are caught gossiping, they can hit you. Now, this is going to be a really, really big thing, because then if you look at these things that it just listed, where is it at right here?
A messy yard, gossip, even
So what is considered gossip? Like right now I'm doing a YouTube live stream or live streaming or anything that people post on social media content. What will fall under the category of gossip? So, anything that you say that you're going to end up saying on these platforms or whatnot could hinder your social credit score. So these things are going to play a big part in everything that we do. So littering, messy yards, so your home should be clean. But this is probably going to get to the point where it's going to mess with, people complain about their freedom of speech and free speech. Well, you're going to have the right to say what you want, but you got to deal with the consequence of your social credit score being docked. And then when your social credit score gets docked, you'll have hard times getting a job, probably riding an airplane, getting a passport. These things are going to affect you severely. But let's keep it going.
jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Zhou Aini are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. A good deed, she says. Good social credit gets rewarded with perks like.
So they reward your fellow neighbor to snitch on each other to basically get a better credit score. So you keep each other in check by basically dog eat dog world type stuff. Like every man for himself, every man, every woman for himself. There's nobody working together because everybody's going against each other. Because if I snitch on you or tell on you, I can get up in the economic social ladder of credit score. So everybody's going to have zero loyalty to one another is what it's looking like, because she's like a paid snitch basically.
Cheap loans and travel deals. But a bad score means public shame and worse. Huang Huijun lost a court case and didn't pay. Now he's on a government blacklist. I can't buy airplane or train tickets, he says, and the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job or put kids in top schools. The social credit system will go nationwide next year, and few here are willing to criticize it. Something that may pose a risk itself for a bad score and the life that comes with it. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News, Beijing.
Now that's 6 years ago. This is 6 years ago.
And the
right
life
here.
that
Look at
comes
this.
with it.
6 years ago when this was put out. Right here you see 2018. You see that the date right there, 3/5/2018 right there. So 25. So yeah, 7 years ago at this point. So we're sitting here looking at something that was 7 years ago, and it says that since his credit score is bad, he fought a court case, lost, and didn't pay it back. I don't think it's that he didn't pay it back. It's just that he couldn't pay it back. He didn't have the money for it, so his credit score got docked. When his credit score got docked, it didn't just hinder him. It even hindered his children getting into better schools. So even his kids are feeling the effect of his poor social credit score, even though he might have not had the money to be able to take care of whatever court situation that he had. So people who have like wage garnishments, child supports, and things like that, that's going to beat a lot of people down and cause a lot of, issues. And with a bad social credit score, no plane ticket, train tickets, and then even to the point where we get these electronic cars on the road and everything is automated, you won't be able to even probably catch an Uber or a taxi or whatever you want to call it when that time rolls out. Those things are going to be shut down because they're all going to be electric. So once everything becomes electric and automated, then the system is going to be fully in place, because then whatever happens, it's all digital, it's all automated. So there's no hand-to-hand transaction anymore. Everything is digital, ran through a machine, and the machine makes the rule, makes the decision, and you can't make any decisions outside of the machine unless you figure out how to live a private life. But that's a story for not on these YouTube airways. But think about this. So this is 6-7 years ago, okay? So we're looking at this video here, which 6-7 years ago, and we're going to dive into another video. So this one is the same, is another video as well. This one might kind of be similar to the one we just seen, but I'm gonna look at this one as well. And this is about 6 years ago too, in China as well. So just kind of keep in mind how long ago this was, and then we're gonna fast forward up to current time today and see exactly if these two things correlate to each other and if America's already rolled it out. So let's go ahead and look at the next video. Well, before I do the next video, let me refresh this screen. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. Okay, so it's already starting. All right, cool. So here we go. So we got the next video up. So let's gonna roll this one out. Let's get this one started. Here we go.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now, the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. A score in the 700s is considered good. Around the 500 mark is not. For now, the number is a sort of bank credit rating, keeping track of everyone's spending habits.
I think being ranked is a good thing. A society has to have rules.
It forces us to be well behaved.
It may seem scary, but it's just like that here. We're used to it, and anyway, we don't have a choice.
But in an effort to keep all of its subjects in line, Beijing is taking the system a step further in 2020. It's aggregating data gathered by banks, private companies, and the state to rate if someone's a good or bad citizen.
By using the most data possible, the so-called big data, the system will play an important role in rebuilding a moral society.
The state.
So he's saying that it will, I mean, I wish I spoke Mandarin, because sometimes I don't believe that when they translate their voices over, they actually tell us the right thing, but we got to go off of what they said in this situation. He said that we can have a better, more moral society. Well, when it comes to a moral compass, it seems like people have different definitions of what morality is. Morality gets twisted in certain ways, so it just depends. It depends on who is basically implementing the moral compass. Now, they say it makes it safer and it makes it better people, but like that woman said, you don't have a choice. And that's the part where they want you to feel like you have no choice. Everything that they're putting on the social credit score, you don't have control over. You better follow laws and rules, because your choice, your free will basically comes with, it always came with a consequence, but this consequence now is like what's the word, draconian in nature, as far as the penalties that come with something as simple as like jaywalking or stuff like that, or gossip. You know what I mean? Like, these are taking it way overboard and causing extreme consequences to something that is not that deep. There's some two minor offenses, you get draconian type punishment for it. But let's continue.
We'll go over every detail of a person's life with a fine-tooth comb. Their financial situation, spending habits, career, even behavior on social media. Criticizing the government online or displaying outward signs of wealth is a no-no. On the other hand, praising the party or giving blood increases your social credit.
Did it say displaying your wealth?
On the other hand, online or displaying outward signs of wealth is a no-no.
So displaying outward sides of wealth, I think is what she said. So basically showing out, like we see all the time right now on social media, people showing their wealth in cars. That's going to be a no-no here in the future at some point. And I believe that this is the model that they're going to build off of, but only time will tell. But if we're looking at how China does it, this is just kind of like a look at these people as an experiment to what's to come. So if this is how hard they're going on their people, imagine how hard it's going to be here when it comes to America. Now think about this. Right now, we have Trump in office, but the next time a Democrat gets into play, I think it's going to be pretty rough. So just think of the communist, because China is a communist party. So the next time we have a communist thinking type of person in presidency, because I don't think Trump is like a communist thinker. He's a capitalist. But next time we have a communist type thinker in power, that's when we're really going to feel the effects. Because right now we're dealing with capitalism, but capitalism in this case is squeezing everybody thin. Everybody's finances is being spread thin. The tariffs is hitting everybody's pockets, and at some point it's going to hit and squeeze people so hard to where people are going to wish that they had communism, that they're going to wish that everybody got a stipend. They're going to wish, the government issued everybody checks and money, because they're being squeezed so tight from capitalism that their mindset is getting pushed to communism because they can't cut it, basically. But let's continue.
On the other hand, praising the party or giving blood increases your social credit. Xiao Wen Wang is a model citizen. She lives in Nanjing, a testing ground for social ranking. Married with a child, she has a job in a retirement home, no debts, and she wouldn't dream of jaywalking.
As a good citizen, I respect the rules of the road. If I didn't, I'd lose points on my social credit.
In theory, everything can be taken into account in the social score, even the most innocuous errands like supermarket shopping. When Xiao Wen Wang makes an electronic payment, her purchases tell the state a lot about her. Buying cigarettes would count against her. On the other hand, nappies show she's an attentive mother. Beer could indicate alcoholism.
They said buying cigarettes would count against her. So it even monitors what she buys, and if she buys something that is bad for her health, then it docks her social credit score. So anything that so basically my body, my choice is out the window. You know what I mean? So all your purchases are looked at. So anything that you buy, anything that you do, when, women are going to do an abortions, I'm pretty sure this is going to go against everything that, I would say women fought for when it comes to rights. if you look at it, but not just women, everybody's rights are going to be infringed upon severely, but it's going to be like a slap in the face. You know what I mean? It's going to be like a major slap in the face, because like all the the fighting and the rights the women went for, but now when you look at it from this lens, it's a big slap in the face if it gets to this level, which I think it will at some point.
She'd be better off buying water. In this pilot city of 8 million people, there are only 18,000 model citizens. For Xiaowen Wang, there are perks to be had, such as paying half price for the bus.
I get discounts for all public services, even at museums. And the library is free for me, thanks to my score.
A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens.
It's a matter of principle. Those people have to be condemned.
Those people aren't honest, so they have to pay the price.
It's only right to pay your debts. You have to blacklist those that don't.
The Supreme Court has created a blacklist for so-called bad citizens, those whose ratings have dropped to 0. On it are companies, but also 23 million people to date.
Wow.
Among them is this journalist Liu Hu.
That is brutal. Basically you have prisoners and slaves is the way that's the way I see it. You got the slaves that are free to roam. They got good slaves, and then when you fall on hard times or things get too bad, then you just become a prisoner. So you're like slave, prisoner, just right there on the cusp. And then you see people get mocked for basically having a low credit score, having a low social credit score. And again, I wish I knew how to speak Mandarin so I could see what they were saying was actually true. But how then people were talking about those other people saying they need to be condemned over a credit score, like there ain't no saving this if it gets to that point. But that's what does Gen Z call it? That's crazy work. There you go. That's crazy work.
He got a little too close to uncovering corruption among high-profile party members. After being sued for defamation by the subject of a story he'd written, he was blacklisted. But he only realized when he tried to buy a train ticket and was told he was banned from traveling.
That tells me I'm still on the blacklist.
Punished because he's been branded untrustworthy by the state.
Once you're blacklisted, you can no longer get a bank loan, start a business, buy an apartment, or even send your children to a private school.
Liu Hu is among a tiny minority of people who have dared to criticize the system, which some are calling a digital dictatorship.
I worry, because I think many people like me will be deprived of individual freedoms, and all of us will live with restrictions of one kind or another.
After our meeting, Liu Hu learned that his name had been removed from the blacklist, but he still has a long way to go if he doesn't want to languish at the bottom of the social credit hierarchy.
So with this being put in place, if you're already rich going into this, you're going to live a very fantastic life because you're not going to have anything to worry about. But if you're not rich going into this, it's going to be very tough. That's why you got to bust your tail now. Like I told you in the past, or like I told you yesterday, put your head down for the next 5 to 7 years and just grind your tail off. You're going to have to go all in with whatever it is that you're doing. Because to end up in this kind of a situation, it doesn't seem like there's any way to get out of it. Like I just don't see you getting out of it. I mean, the only thing you could do to get out of it from what it looks like is to like sell your soul, or like in the episode of Black Mirror where it was called 15 Million Merits, where people they would get on a game show to show their talents, and that dude ended up helping the girl get on the talent show, and she sang, and she ended up winning, but her reward was she ended up on somebody's basically prawn channel. Basically is what happened. She ended up on one of the judge's prawn channel, and she was just getting her cheeks clapped viciously for her reward for being a great singer on the game show. So even though she made it out, you know, she just became, you know, a sex slave. That was the end result for that girl. So even though she had a gift and, you know, they praised her, didn't matter. Her end result was a sex slave. Then the dude who ended up getting on the show, and then he wins the show, what he ended up doing was he ended up basically putting he basically like put a piece of glass to his neck and like spoke truth, right? He actually spoke truth about the system and how the system is ran and how it's rigged and how they're enslaved and how they do the same thing every day, how they're not able to get out their situation. Well, anyway, the judges saw that, and you could tell one of the judges knew he was speaking the truth, and what they did was they took him and basically put him on the opposite side of the spectrum. So basically they made him a streamer, and what he would do is he would then stream to the people with that same stream or with that same speech that he delivered that day when he was fed up. Now he delivers that speech every single day to other people who used to be in his position. So he was in a position of basically, you could say, prisoner. Now he upgraded to slave, but he kind of sold out the people who he was in prison with, and now he's in this now he's in his own kind of prison, enslaved to himself, all alone by himself, looking out at a window with a nice view, but you don't know if the window is an actual view or if it's just a digital computer screen. You can't tell. So he just basically traded a different prison for a more happier, more comfortable prison. So he went from a low prison to a comfortable prison. So looking at this, at some point you have to wonder and ask yourself, will people be able to get out of social credit scores, or are you just going to be stuck in bondage and servitude because your children are even going to be, you know, stuck in it? But let's go ahead and look at this next video and take a look. So this one we have right here, this is 1 year ago. So this one here is titled Americans Assign China-like Social Credit Score. So we're going to see what this is about. This is 1 year ago. So now we're taking it from 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago in China. Now we're fast forwarded to a year ago in America, and we're going to see how things are looking and how the technology and the advancement, and if Americans are going to be implementing it the same way the Chinese do. So let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen real quick, and let's take a look at this. Here we go.
Have a social credit system right here in the United States that has been installed quietly, interestingly, not by the government, but instead by private businesses and banks. It's in similar ways, really, to the way the Chinese Communist Party's social credit system works. Rather than use a CCP standard of adherence to the ruling regime, it's instead based on the social justice standards under ESG, or environmental and social governance. As ESG criteria assesses businesses' sustainability and ethics, a personal ESG score, just like the big corporate ones, offers insight into a person's commitment to sustainable practices, and apparently we're all committed to this whether we like it or not. Your personal ESG score is calculated based on three main factors: environmental, social, and governance, which includes, for example, your purchase history. What products are you choosing to buy? Already, apparently, purchasing a gun, buying alcohol, or other items can affect your personal ESG score. Your sales history, your public records, including your credit reports. All of these are considered to gauge your impact on the environment and society. But because people don't want these things, they've found that they have to try to force people to want these things.
So you heard it right there. He just mentioned it right there. Purchasing a firearm or gossiping or things like that, those will impact your social credit score negatively. So what that is they're basically found a loophole to go around the Constitution by not stopping you from doing it, because you can still do it. They ain't gonna stop you from doing it, but it will have a consequence on your social credit score for when you do it. So, you know, your right to bear arms, right to free speech, and things like that are gonna come with a penalty now, and the penalty is gonna be hindering on if you can buy or sell within the economy that you're living in, and all of your transactions will be monitored 100%, and to be able to see everything you do. Smoking cigarettes, drinking is going to dock your credit score. So the My Body, My Choice, they're able to put inside your body whatever you want. That's going to be an issue because it's going to dock your credit score. And if your credit score gets docked, then you saw what happens. You can't get a passport. You can't get a plane ticket. You can't get a train ticket. You can't do, there's a bunch of things you won't be able to do because of a social credit score. And it's going to hinder not just you, but even your kids, because your kids will have be kind of stuck into a certain demographic or a certain, demographic of education, and they won't be able to achieve higher education because your social credit score is low. So it's once it's got its claws in, its lock chain in on everybody, it's like you're not gonna escape it. That's why you want to go into it if possible. You have to be rich going into it. That's the only way I can think of going about it, is if you're not rich going into it. I mean, and even then, this ain't no guarantee, but going into this situation rich as opposed to going into it poor and trying to work your way up, they're cutting that off. You're not working your way out of this. You ain't working your way through this situation. Once you're in this situation, you ain't working up to become like something major, like a millionaire or a billionaire. You're not going to be able to do that at all. They're going to put a stop to that tremendously. And everybody's going to be down here at the bottom for the rest of however long the elites choose it to be that way. And that's what my opinion on the social credit score will be, because you're not going to come out of this. You're not going to get out of it. You ain't going to make your way out of it in no shape, form, or fashion, because it's designed to keep you down at the lowest of the low. Okay, so we have this next video I got up here. This one's going to be by a guy named Joshua Fluke. He made a video about the employee social credit scores, and he had a CEO said that they responded to his video, and he also sent them some questions to ask. And this is what we have right here for this video. I'm going to go ahead and pull this video up, but let me go ahead and refresh it real quick. He made a video about the social credit score, and with the social credit score, he explained like the people who made it and what was their purpose and what their mission of setting up these certain apps or whatever for social credit scores. So we're going to go dive in deeper and see exactly what was said to him and what he responded to when the CEO reached out to him and asked him some questions. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and let's get started. Here we go.
Pitches a product that lets your manager track your emotions, reward you for smiling, and give you a high five on an app that's like Yelp for hourly workers. That's Gage. In the last video, I showed you their Techstars pitch from 2024, and that was basically a disaster. The TLDR was that it gave you a score that you take with you from working at these jobs.
Which is why I built Gage, the first transferable employment record for the shift and hourly workforce. We are the first platform that connects employers with employees within a community. It replaces their resume. To the employer, Gage is a dynamic team management system that drives accountability, communication.
So you see, this is a very, 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 very good thing for businesses. This is great for your business because then your business is monitoring its employees, and it's AI monitoring your employees, so you can always see what they're doing at all times, 24/7, 365. You don't have to have your eyes on your employees. If you have a business, you can just time into this social credit score system, or use like the app that what he's talking about, and imply it onto your workers of your business. So the people at the top are going to be the ones that have a thriving business, and if your business thriving, you're able to bring jobs to other people. Bringing jobs to other people is going to be your way of being able to give back to the system, because the system does, the way the system works, or the tax code works, is it does support you having a business, and it supports you bringing jobs and business to other people. So when that happens and the social credit score rolls out, it kind of goes hand in hand. So the people who can provide jobs to others, they're going to be elevated up here. Otherwise, everybody else who needs a job, you're going to be stuck in a situation that's going to be impossible to get out of, because you're going to be fighting like a crabs in a bucket trying to get out of a situation, but you really can't. If your neighbor's snitching on you, if people play politics with the social credit score system because they don't want to see you rise above them, like everybody will be stuck at the lowest of the low, and it'll be hard to get out.
And performance.
So you can imagine how easy it would be to gamify that system, to get people to do things or not do things, basically discriminate without anyone ever knowing. Like, for example, if you work at a fast food place and you say no to taking someone else's shift because it's your day off, well, maybe that person was friends with the manager and that wasn't very cool of you. So now they team up and collectively agree not to give you any more high fives on the app, to send you a message and make sure you don't do that again, because the Gauge algorithm is always watching and you don't want to drop below a 500 because then who will ever hire you again? Anyway, so that was the video I made a couple days ago. We'll call it Gauge 1.0 because they actually left a comment on the last video saying that they no longer have a score and they're working on Gauge 2.0. So let me show you what they said and let's go over what they addressed and
speaking,
everything.
You don't have a score, you're working on 2.0. So 2.0 is going to be the vamp up of 1.0. So technically speaking right now, yes, you might not have anything, but when the time comes, that 2.0 is going to be way better than 1.0. Because once you put out the beta and test it to see how it works and see how people respond to it, all you got to do is see the response and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is it. We're going to go all the way in because we see how they react to it. And this ain't even the good stuff that we rolled out. We just rolled out some stuff to kind of be like, here, take it. Hope you like it. See what you need. But let's check him out and see what else he has to say.
Anything else they didn't. But thanks to everyone who's taken the time to comment and share feedback. We genuinely appreciate it. We've seen a lot of reactions, questions, and assumptions based on last year's Techstars pitch video, and it's come a long way since then. They say that the pitch being discussed was just a pitch. It showed a snapshot of an early idea, not the full product, and definitely not where Gauge is headed. Isn't it a little bit more than a pitch when you already have businesses signed up for it and you're doing 60,000 ARR in 6 months?
Last year, we launched a beta in our community. Onboarded over 60 businesses, over 3,000 employees, got up to $60,000 in ARR. This was all within 6 months, y'all. 6 months. We still have 200 businesses on our wait list. Now, the most exciting stat is that half of our accounts came from referrals, proving LinkedIn-style network effect and organic growth. Even better, because our business customers are experiencing a 50% increase in retention, which they are, we're able to drive revenue through subscriptions as we expand.
Seems a bit more than a pitch. Sounds like it's already implemented and working. So here, they go with the emotional appeal. We're not Big Brother. We're not some faceless tech company. We're not an evil corp. We're a team of 4 people who've worked in kitchens, construction, worked in offices, retail, and more. We care about them because they're our people. They say long before this video ever came back up, we already decided to remove the Gauge score, and in beta testing, many users appreciated the gamification and motivation that the score offered, while others felt it was confusing, intrusive, and not aligned with their needs. After more testing, it became clear that the feature was too divisive and ultimately unnecessary. So we pulled the early beta from the App Store and got to work on Gen 2. Gauge 2.0 won't use a score at all. Instead, it highlights what really matters. Okay, here we go, everyone. How often you're recognized on the job, your commitment over time, the network you've built, the skills, licenses, and certifications you've earned. And they're introducing a new kind of resume made specifically for the shift in hourly workforce with no score and no surveillance. They say it's built to give workers ownership of their progress, recognition, and records. Everything lives with the individual, not the employer. When someone changes jobs, their data goes with them. It's theirs to keep, to share, delete, or make private. It doesn't belong to a platform or a business. It belongs to the worker. Gauge has always been for the workers. That's the mission. That's the product. Okay, so that was a really long response comment that didn't really address too much or almost any of the questions I posed in the last response with them. It's theirs to keep.
So right here, the Gauge Gen 2, the Gen 2 version, it won't use a score at all. Instead, it'll highlight what really matters. So how often you're recognized on the job, your commitment over time, the network you've built, skills, license, and certifications you've earned. That's always going to be the beginning way of how it starts and how things start out at the beginning, you know, to kind of ease it in. But as it gets in, you know, you're going to update it. You're going to start adding more and more and more and more and more stuff to it. And things are just going to get tighter and tighter and tighter around your neck.
To share, delete, or make private. It doesn't belong to a product. The questions I posed in the last video.
So the issue is clear. These employees simply don't care. And who can blame them?
But here's another question. If workers can just delete and edit all of their Gauge data, then what's the point of it as a resume or credibility system at all? Why would an employer trust any of it if you can just edit it? Commitment over time, which isn't always up to you. You could be wanting to work at the job you have all day long, but if they say, sorry, get out, then you have to. That doesn't mean your commitment isn't there. Do you get punished for that? You can't really have data that is both fully editable and deletable by the user and the employee, so it's owned, and trusted and used by employers to judge them as a mark of good character or a good resume or whatever. So it must be accurate, because if I can delete every low recognition week before applying to a new job, or remove quiet periods, or change my commitment over time, then the system is basically just linked in with extra steps. Who verifies the accuracy of the data on this app? Who moderates false shoutouts? Who audits the toxic managers boosting their favorites? Who audits whether context is captured for why someone left the job? Was it really because they weren't committed, or is that just what the app says? Why would anyone use Gauge? If you're a worker, there's not really an upside to it.
No, it's not an upside to workers. It's only for businesses. Everything is geared towards businesses, entrepreneurs and businesses, business owners, anything of that nature. Everything is designed for you. If you have a business and know how to navigate it correctly, anything that comes out will be used for you, because you get tax breaks and benefits for being able to provide jobs to others and things of that nature. So this is not for the employee. This is simply for big business.
Unless every employer demands it. And then if you're an employer, you can't really trust the data that the workers have, because they can just change it or delete it. They don't say who's ensuring accuracy, so how is anyone accountable? Like, again, if workers can just write their own resume, why would anyone use Gauge? You already control your own narrative on LinkedIn. You can leave out toxic jobs or bad managers that thought you weren't committed, even though you showed up early and stayed late every day. If you're using Gauge, you're basically stuck with a metadata-driven vibe profile shaped by shoutouts, internal politics, and a whole bunch of other subjective things. It's like, here's your report card written by your coworkers, your boss, and the group chat. But it doesn't even matter, because you can just delete the report card after. So my next question would be, who actually benefits at all from using Gauge? Well, I guess it would be the businesses, right? Because they're the ones paying to use it. Because if a business can get their employees to use that, they're essentially able to track them without calling it that. Because they can see who's engaged, committed, and recognized without needing to monitor emails or cameras around. So they're not tracking you or surveilling you, but they do keep a score, but not a score of how many times you're recognized on the job. So now companies can just watch who's a real team player and who's not. This would allow businesses to justify people for getting promotions over other people. Even though there's no score, you could say something like, well, their engagement was in the bottom 40th percentile. It's like a new data stream for workforce behavior analytics.
So using your social credit score, using the things that you can, get your points docked for, can be used as a means to get leveled up, even if you are showing that you do, follow the rules or whatever rules that you want to follow. Even if you're in the process of trying to fix you from where you were to where you want to be at, if they're able to see a history or any kind of thing prior to that, it's going to cost you. So this thing is going to be a great tool for businesses, but a horrible tool for employees, and it's going to constantly have its foot on people's neck nonstop.
Because if they can access usage metrics, vibe history, shout out frequency, and network mapping, then companies can build reports off of this. They could make things like the top 10 culture fits. They could look for engagement drop predictors. Companies get to look modern and worker friendly without offering any real benefits at all. They can sort through people using crowdsourced vibes instead of evaluations. From my perspective, it just doesn't look like it's built to help workers. It looks like it's built to help employers justify decisions and filter people and delegate judgment to data that no one can really challenge, because it's a proprietary algorithm. I just don't imagine any managers going, okay, let's pull up your Gauge profile and check your network connectivity and commitment for the last 6 months. No manager at the UPS store scrolling a Vibe dashboard on their lunch break. Another big problem here is that hourly workers don't control the environment, and the things they're being rated on or scored without a number are still really outside of their control. So the data for these...
Well, that's what it is. It's a whole enslavement tactic is basically what it is. You go from, you basically can graduate from a prison to a slave, or from a slave to a prison, however you want to look at it. But it's just the social credit score is a perfect way to reclassify everything. And it's going to classify everything to the have and the have-nots, period, point blank. No other way to look at it. There's not going to be a middle class with the social credit score. We're already seeing that being rolled out now, as far as how money and things are being handled, and how the wage gap or the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots are going. We're seeing it in real time, and this is what this is going to exacerbate as far as expedite the process of this thing happening. So yeah, that's really all it's for. Business owners and people who run businesses. If you have a job, you're going to be in big trouble, because the only way to get out of this is to get rich. That's the only way. And even then, you're not necessarily out of it. You're just in a different position. You know what I mean? You're in somewhat of a more comfortable position than what others would be if they had nothing or not as much. So keep that in mind. We ain't too far from it. We are not too far from a social credit score. China's been doing this for the past 7 years, and the U.S. is finally slowly but surely getting on board with it and understanding how this stuff works. And when it hits, it's gonna hit, and it's like you're gonna be stuck because there's no way to really get above it. You're not gonna get above it for a long time, or if at all. So anyway, we got one more, and then we'll be done. This video is a little bit long, but this one is called Living in a Social Credit System. It's an animated video, but I want to watch this so you can see it from a male perspective, or anybody perspective really, but looking at this from a male perspective of living in a social credit system. So let's go ahead and check out this video. This will be the last one for the day, and we'll wrap this up. So here we go. Fair use. Hopefully I don't get a copyright for these songs.
Good afternoon. It has come to our notice that you are spending a large amount of time playing video games. Last week, your average gaming time was 6 hours a day. These are unproductive hours that can also be spent on work, education, volunteer work, or anything else that has a beneficial value to your society. How about we stop playing games for now so you can focus on valuable things?
If you know what that is, you pay attention. That's an AI talking to him basically and advising him of how he should be spending his time in the future. And now he's making a decision via AI.
In case you deny our offer and choose to keep playing games, you don't add any value to your...
And it looks like right here, message from GovernBot, you see his credit score is 648 out of 1,000. So you have his name, citizen ID, and all this stuff. And this is going to go through everything. It's not just going to be your job workforce. It's going to be your dating as well. If you're dating, we're going to see your credit score being put up there. So your social credit score will be put up on dating. Your social credit score will be put up on your link tree and everything that has to do with a job. Your social credit score will be in everything. And you'll be in the system. Where, you know, if you don't utilize their system as far as, and I'm pretty sure everything will be digital at some point. Cash will be gone by this time, or we're headed there, and it's already to the point where, I mean, you don't get paychecks anymore. You get, you know, checks sent straight to your bank like a direct deposit, so you don't see people utilizing cash as much. It's not many cash businesses out there, so everything is already going digital in that way. So it's almost lock and key, and if they're already rolling this out now, then this is a good idea to get an understanding of how things are going to be working. And imagine how earlier when I did the first part of the show, I spoke with I had showed Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Just imagine growing up, the younger generation, this world like this is being their normal.
In case you deny our offer and choose to keep playing games, you don't add any value to your society. This means we will have to lower your social credit by 3 points. Please choose again. Excellent choice. You will now be blocked from playing video games for 7 days. Your social credit score remains the same by 648 points.
Dictated his decision, gave him an ultimatum. Either have your social credit score docked, or, you know, play video games. He chose not to play video games, so his social credit score wouldn't get docked. So his free will is being tampered with.
So do you have any spare change for someone in need?
I do. Are there any cameras around here?
There is one on the corner of the street. I don't sit there because I don't want them to observe me.
I can give you money, but it has to happen in front of the camera.
If you want me to sit next to the camera, you'll have to give me at least $10.
Fine. Now go there.
Hi sir, do you have $10 for me?
Sure, fellow citizen, here you go. Make sure to spend it on something good like a product from the amazing company Amazon.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. We have noticed you donating money to the people in need. For that, you get 1 social credit point. On top of that, our partner Amazon noticed you promoting their company to another human. Therefore, you get another social credit point. You now have 650 points. We have received a tip about the fact that you are harassing a fellow public transport traveler. This will result in a decrease of your social.
Wow, just because he's looking at somebody, she sent the tip off and said that you're harassing her. So now you can't even look at somebody and you can get your social credit score docked. And remember, the social credit score price for that bus ride was $650 and he just hit $650, but now he's getting docked.
Social credit score by 5 points. Since you are below a score of 700 points, it is not possible to submit a counter notification.
Need a ride?
Thanks for getting me a ride home, sir.
You are welcome, dude. I hope this good deed will get me the final social credit point.
Final point? You mean you are 1 point away from the 1,000 mark?
Yes.
Holy shit, you're like a level 99 mafia boss. How is it like having such a high social credit score?
It's amazing. You get accepted into every store and restaurant, you get early access and discounts to events, the ladies love you, and the list goes on.
How did you manage to get there?
Years of being nice to everybody, spending all your free time on things that are valuable for society, and always stay away from the slightest form of trouble.
So basically you have no real life?
What? I have a great life.
But it's a fake life too. How hard must it be to be nice to everybody, even towards your enemies or that annoying Karen yelling at you at the store? How awful must it be having to spend all your time on the society and never on your own enjoyment?
How awful must it be not to be accepted on a simple bus ride? Or to be put behind people with a higher social credit score? Or to be losing points because someone like me can simply order a complaint about you?
That's awful too. I guess we both have our pros and cons.
I disagree. My life with a top-tier social credit score is amazing and I love this country. Our government is the best and I cannot think of another life but this.
Was that an attempt on getting a social credit point?
Can you turn on flight mode on your phone, please?
Done. Why did I have to turn on flight mode?
Because now the government can't hear us talking. Listen, kid. This social credit system is an absolute hell. No one is living life anymore. You either get punished for it and therefore losing the quality of your life, or you choose to give your life for a good credit score, which is also at the cost of a good life. I feel like I have to tiptoe every second of my life. The moment I saw you, I knew that you were a real person and not a zombie for the social credit score. It feels good to be able to speak my mind. Usually you get punished for talking like this, but luckily this conversation cannot be monitored.
So basically, you see right there that one of the things that you can use to get out of the social credit score, I didn't say get out of social credit score, but even though he's rich, he's still in the social credit score, and he has to be careful with what he says because he doesn't want to get docked. And you know, you have the threat of poverty or the threat of being restricted always chasing you, no matter how rich that you get in this social credit score type of society and system. As you see, he told the thing to turn off, but he's still being recorded.
What a shame. The man had so much potential. Dump the social credit.
has come to our notice that you have been using bad thinking and negative speaking about your government. Lying and negativity are crimes we take very seriously. Therefore we are lowering your score by 500 points. This brings you at a social credit score of 499. You are no longer allowed to drive a car. Please step outside of the vehicle.
Well, that's one way to look at how a social credit score will be impacting the future here pretty soon. So that's why I say keep your head down for the next 5 or 10 years. Stay focused and stay grinding and stay getting to your money at all times and try to find a way to basically live a life of away from everything. But, you know, the way things are going, it's getting tough out there, but you can do it. You can make it happen. You just got to stay positive and have an open mind. But just keep your head down, stay grinding, because once the social credit score hits, it ain't no getting out of it. There ain't no way you're going to get out of it. You're going to be in it. So hopefully the investments that you make and the decisions that you make in the future will be great decisions to figure out how to live, you know, on a plot of land out in the middle of nowhere somewhere, and, you know, your own little utopia that you can make for yourself, and, you know, be free of a social credit score with a small community of people. And I think the only people who have this ideology right will be the Amish. So if you can figure out how to live like the Amish, you'll be cool. Because otherwise, everything that they do, the Amish are not really tied to technology. And technology is the thing that is going to enslave everybody when social credit scores hit. Okay, people, hopefully you enjoyed that last segment of the show with the AI portion. I need to get out of here and hit this bed. Ugh. The boy is tired. I've been nodded off a couple of times while I was on camera, but that's okay. But we will be here tomorrow, so we'll catch y'all later, man. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching another Daily Fitness live stream show. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care. Peace.
It's big art, baby, I'm obsolete. Pockets chunky like cottage cheese. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli. Taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fuck the ones that's my policy. Most of these hoes tryna cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then buy the dream. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, no, the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay. Don't wait no nigga off the top. In the booth, playing basketball, counting cash and smoke green. Can me blow a cloud like a smoke machine. Your bitch on my dick, she got no to sing. Bumblebee ass, yeah, I know it's thing. I'll plug your bitch like a 6-string. Jordan with the bitches got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitch a split screen. The press with pain pills and sip lane. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star heavyweight like Wolverine. The bitch nice like she over me. I flip money like Clover G. Game hustle like CIP. It's hard baby like DIG. Acronym like KRT. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Don't wait no nigga in Austin, Texas. In the booth, playing beats. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Don't wait no nigga in Austin, Texas. In the booth, playing beats. Killing beats like RP. No hard shit with your artery. Cutting up, who sharp as me? Rolling up accordingly. Pulling hoes, no sorcery. Rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ever write it, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a Florida beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade, I ignore the heat. Bitch, I'm on my way, hit the short for reach. Money jumping like the nigga on the steeds. Come to Patty James, get me on the beat. Bitch, I'm always winning like what's the fee? The game on lock, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only